Right, welcome back to a new video. It's now Monday, the bank holiday Monday. As hopefully you saw yesterday, I got my frame rails in. Now today, I really don't want to. I've had enough of getting dirty, but I'm going to unpick the back there. I'm going to sort out them strut tops, as I said yesterday, and then have a really good tidy up, blow off all the shit from the car, and start putting it back into position just to see what else I need to sort. Now, ideally, I'm thinking if I can get some sort of brace going across where I can lay it into the MX-5 just to get my levels right, but I don't think that's realistic. So I think I'm just going to have to get the wheels underneath, and I think I've got some scissor jacks to level off all the body because my flooring is completely unlevel. So I'll crack on now with cutting out them turret tops on both sides and unpicking the floor from the back. The one good thing is, obviously, we've done both sides up to there, so it's just going to be a case of cutting off that top section there, and there's not loads to do, so it shouldn't be the end of the world. Right, changed my mind slightly. I've cut the top of the rear turrets, as you can see, so now I should have enough space to sit the car down. I've had a tidy up, so I feel a lot better now. I've just got to chop out that brace there before I do anything. I was going to unpick all that crap from around there, but I'm actually going to wait till I've mounted it to the chassis. And the reason why I'm going to do that is, if I show you how flimsy that's gone to how firm that still is, I don't want to destroy all the rigidity of the back end, which I think I will if I take it out. And looking at it, I can't decide how it's made up. It seems like the boot floor is all the way around. So what I might do is just cut it flush. It looks like maybe the boot floor's mounted from the bottom, but I think I might just cut it close and weld on top and just seam seal the edge and maybe stitch weld it, because I feel like I'm going to take too much strength out removing all that. Looking at the design, that definitely curls up there, doesn't it? Sorry, that definitely comes down and then curls up. Unless it's just where it was double plated. In fact, no, I've cut that bit out. So yeah, I think for strength I'll just cut it about 1 inch back, similar to what I have at the back there, but obviously I'll do it flat. I'll unpick it from the top of the chassis rails so that I can get a decent connection in there, but I think that's going to be the best bet. The chassis rails I put in are looking tidy. By the time they're painted and stone chipped, you won't see any of the little defects. It's why I'm not going crazy with the linishing back, because obviously it's going to get stone chipped. So I think now I'll just whip that off, and then I'll tidy up all the metal from inside it, and we'll roll the back in. Right, so we're roughly in place. I've been staring at it for probably 20 minutes trying to decide what the best bet is to get it straightened off. So I'll show you what I come up with. It still needs to, the Mazda still needs to go back a little bit, but it's catching just a touch, so it's springing back. Now on the inside, I've lifted up the back of the Mazda and got a spirit level set on the chassis rail. If I put that across to the Escort, the front, we're pretty much there. It needs to go up a tiny bit, the Escort, but that's it. But the back, it's a mile off. So what I'm thinking, from here to there, I'm going to weld a box section on top of this when it's out the car, well, when I've got it lifted up, and then that way it'll sit level. I'll put one there and one there at the front, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So there'll be one at the back and one at the front. And what that'll also allow me to do is release the ratchet straps, hopefully, and slide it back and forward just enough to do all the work I need to do. On the front, we need to plate off all that section there, clean off all this, unpick that from there, and clean up all the inside. I'm then going to have to, where the hinge is here, make some sort of template so I can, because that's shocking that. I'm going to have to chop off the front of the slam panel just at an angle, and need to make a new hinge bracket basically. We've got enough space for it to go, and that's why I say if I leave it one there and one sort of here, I'll have enough space to swing it in and out. Now the Escort is rear heavy, so obviously I'll have to leave the back end on, well at the moment it's on an air jack for the MX-5 body, so I have got another one of them, so I'll get that on the back of the Escort so that I can level it. The suspension is sitting quite nicely, pretty much where I want it to, but I can sort all of that out afterwards. I'll just drop the subframe back out again. I need to take a measurement now from the top of the subframe to the floor and just make sure that is enough space, so I'll do that now. Just pulling the car out then, silly mistake. I thought putting the box sections on, obviously it'd help me line it up, which it would, but I wouldn't be able to slide the car into position. So to get around keeping the subframe all in position, I've only just got enough space. So obviously from there I wouldn't be able to lower it down, and I can't lower the car down over it, so it's just going to have to be a case of jacking it up and manipulating it, unfortunately. So for now anyway, a bit gutted that wasn't painted behind. I stripped this as well. So for now I'm going to tidy all this up on both sides, which is going to be hours of work I suspect, and essentially get it prepped ready to plate up that section there. Probably chop a little bit more off here just to get it a little bit flat. Saying that, it doesn't really matter if it's flat, does it? Because I've got to hand make a panel up to it anyway, and it's going to be hidden between two sheets. So I'll just plate inside there and take this off, just clean it all back to bare metal, get all this back to bare metal, see what we're left with. Because obviously the hinge position I'm going to have to pick back up again. Ideally, if I could do it with whatever I'm doing here now, that would be the absolute ideal, because then I've got it on fresh steel now ready. So I'll see what I can do. This is where it's going to start getting interesting. Alright, so I've just managed to clean off everything I think I need to clean anyway for now. I've left these welds here because they're not going to affect me. I'm going to have to weld that up again. There's a little split there. Now, I do regret chopping off the lip there, but it's not going to cause me a problem, because what I'll do is when I put the sheet of steel there, I'll catch it to the back and I'll seam weld all the way down where it connects up, and then we'll have a second lip which will box the section in, and this will have the same, so this will be seam welded as well, and that one will follow this shape. So this one, I'm just going to take a little section there and just box all this in with a piece of sheet steel. I'm going to fill that in, and then that bit's ready to start fitting back up, and then we'll do the same on the other side. I'm just considering now whether to do a sheet steel up here ready to accept these bolts for the hinges, because I think it's going to cause me a problem trying to get these lined back up again. So I'm wondering whether to put a piece in ready and just weld a couple of nuts on the back or something like that. But I'll get this bit done first, I'll get the other side done the same, and then I'll trial fit it and I'll see if there's a way of sorting this out. There must be something I can do. Just knocked up a template to go around there. I've drawn a line where I need to drill some holes, and that is going to sit something like that. I've welded up that gap as well. I'm going to leave that for, obviously, for strength. So I'll get that welded in. I'm just going to trial fit it over there and see how it fits, because if it's close I can draw around this as my next template. I have knocked it about a little bit on the other side, but yeah, I think that'll be close enough. See there, I brought out the other side to match that, so I bent that back out. So yeah, I'll draw around that and we'll make that fit again. Just a little bit of jiggery pokery at the top. Again, cutting a little bit there, but once that's off, we'll put a big bead of weld in there to get the strength back in. I also need to do a little bit there. So let's get on with that. Alright, so this side's done. I've welded up that bit there, as you saw, all the way around. That's all joined together now, bang on solid. I tell a lie, I just need to weld that little tiny hole there up and just knock it back a little bit. Though I may just leave that until I get all the other pieces in, because a lot of it may be covered. So I'm going to be welding across there and down, so I might leave that, and I'm going to be plating up the inside as well. Yeah, so I may leave that. It's bang on solid though, as you can hear. So I'll just knock that bit of weld in there and then crack on with the other side. I now wish that I'd flat disced all the stone chip off before, because I can't be bothered doing that again now. It's horrible work. Oh well. Right, so I flapped all this side down, found an old repair there that I had done, And I think I did this one, which is a little bit rough. I never did that one though, but I'm going to redo that one because it's not to my standard now. Moved on a bit. That one will get redone, but I'm not going to touch it until it's sat on the MX-5 chassis. I've welded up the inside there. That's going to stay as is because I want the strength on it. I still need to just put a beader weld on there. Again, that'll stay as it is, same as that side. And then I've templated this. I just need to cut the piece out. I'll weld that in and then I'll come back to you. Alright, so I've got that top bit welded in now. As I said, I'm not going to bother with the bit that needs repairing there because I don't want to ruin any of the structure. That's all welded in down the bottom, ready to accept this front. What I'm going to do now is just remove that front section of dash, and I'm going to unpick the old scuttle and see how we're going to match the two cars together. Here's how we're looking after sorting that bit out. The fit now is real good. So all we've got to make up there, and I can get closer, all I need to do is just take a little bit out from under the hinge, because that's just stopping the hinge from dropping. So that just wants a little bit taken away, but what I think I'll do is just dish it over, because if any water does get in there, we want it to run out the sides of the wings, and that's the same on both sides. So we'll dish that over. This side you can see a little bit better. So what we'll be doing is extending this piece and butting it up to there, all the way down, then bringing one from here over to there, and then on the inside I'll try and get one in as well if I can, though it may not really be necessary. That, yeah, I might not bother with that. I think we'll have enough strength there, and I've got the wiring loom to sort out, and then obviously we'll have to take a piece round here up to there and box in that section as well. I'm thinking this area here, if I leave that open into the wing space, one, if there's any moisture ever gets in there, it'll release it, and two, because I'm going to have to seal this to the scuttle to give me a firewall, it's going to allow ventilation into there. Now, I don't know if it's low enough yet, but that's how the dash is. So 10-15 centimeters of space. In fact, I've got a tape measure. So the dash, its narrowest point is about 12 centimeters. So we need to add 12 centimeters to the dash. Over in the corners, it is a little bit more like 15, 16. But I don't know if we've got this in the right position yet. I'll try and fit a wing on now and see how close we are. Alright, so as I said, I've got the front end now on scissor jacks, and I've levelled the car pretty close to where it needs to be. The back's on a couple of air jacks, and this is how it sits in the body roughly. Now the reason why I've done this, and it's not in its fixed position quite yet, is I needed to weigh up, if I show you, what space I've got to work with. So obviously we can get a brace across here and one up at the front, but I'm going to have to tie in all round there. Now it actually looks feasible to do, and I'm not overly concerned. So what I think I'll do now is I'll get the Escort partially up in the air, or I might have to jack the whole thing up. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but I need to get the rear subframe back in and get it sat on its normal level, and then I can start getting it into its correct position. So I'm going to have to use the back arch mainly as the center point of where I want to be. The front, I mean, it looks okay, but I don't know exactly where the arch is going to sit, because obviously the wing's not in its proper position. So we'll do it off the back arch, and once we've got the back arch into the correct position and it looks okay on the front, I can bang a couple of tacks in, bracing it up, and then we can look to... Sorry, wife interrupted me then, wanting dropping off somewhere. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get the subframe back underneath and make sure that we've got it in the right position, maybe get a few tacks in. I'm just going to have to struggle now. So now I've got it to this position, as I say, I'm just going to have to struggle. So everything's possible to do. The front, we've definitely got to a position where we can weld onto, and once the windscreen's out, that'll make it a lot simpler as well. But I don't want to take the windscreen out until we've got some sort of welded in position, if you like. After a hell of a lot of messing, we're somewhere close. It's not in its final resting position, but it's getting there, so I'll just show you. So just got the driver's side wing on. As you can see, the wing's curling in. That's what that is, just because of the shape of the MX-5. But we've got the wheel pretty close to where it wants to be, and this is the back wheel. Obviously there's no weight on the car at the moment, but it's bolted on the subframe. So the subframe's bolted on and the weight is on there as well, though I have got something just jacking up the frame just to get me somewhere close. I am going to have to weld bits of steel across just temporarily, just so I can slide it back and forth to get the exact position. See over there? So it's going to work out really good.
I mean, technically the space, if I cut that section out there, that little bit, I can probably have a little baby double in between the chassis legs, little seat in between, and then flush it off, which is probably what I'm going to do. I still need to square off everything. The car, I think, has gone in 5mm on each side. It's the distance between the new chassis legs was 1 centimetre, so 10mm. So I may have to, well, actually what I'm thinking is if I cut the box section up front and back the same size, all 4 of them, and just hammer them in position, it'll square the car off. There's no real way it can't get squared. Dashboard, definitely going to have to do something with, but there's enough space to get in, definitely get in the car. The seats, it's actually a little bit wider than the MX-5 because the sills are more on the outside than on the in like the MX-5 is, so we're going to have to make new seat mounts. The back will be fine, I'll just join onto them, but I'll probably just make a new one for the front. Show you the back. This is pretty much where it's going to sit in the back. There's still loads of space to get onto the strut towers, so I can get to the struts on both sides. I do need to box in, obviously, that section. I'm going to have to do it on the car though. This piece of wood is loose. I just used it for leveling off so I could sit the body down. There's potentially, because we're a million miles off the ground here, and once it's got some weight on, obviously the weight's going to drop down. I'm in 2 minds whether to drop the chassis legs down or just have a floor across there and drop it down, drop a new floor down. I need to make a decision on that. Because as it is, the length is not far off an MX-5, so I could use a standard rear box on all the hangers. And to be honest with you, it's not like I'm going to go picnicking in it. It's not going to be a day out car, so all I've really got to sort is place for the exhaust to go and obviously the fuel tank. Now the fuel tank, I could just go sort of Mark 1, Mark 2 Escort and have it in the side, something like that. You can see, if you look there, that's where I still need to square it off. So if you look where the shop mount of the Mazda frame is to the other side, I still need to move the Escort over a bit, which is why I want to weld that bit of box section on it. What I think I'll probably do is just weld I've got a few offcuts of the inch box section. It's not going to be taking any weight other than the weight of the car as it is now. The back's supported pretty much on there, so worst case scenario, I can put the scissor jacks between the chassis rail and the back of the car, there and there, to get that levelled off, which is probably going to be the best bet. And then obviously if we get the box section at the front there, in fact, yeah, that's a good way to do it. I'll do the box section at the front and I'll scissor jack the back like I have down there. So yeah, I think I'll get on with that, and then the car's going to be able to sort of float on top. I don't think it's going to be coming off the chassis again. That's its sort of fixed position. I can sort everything else out now as it is. The gap there is really, I mean, that's not hard to join up at all. I could have almost just butt welded it, but obviously that's not the way we want to do it anyway. I need to make some sort of curl around the wiring, and that's on both sides as well. I need to still sort out this because that's going to hit. I think I'm going to be able to just weld something onto that bracket and clean up around it. I think I've kept the bits for this so we can get all that back in as well. But that's where that side is, and this side sorry. This side's pretty much the same. So again, where I've trimmed it off is pretty much bang on. Got loads of strength in this A-pillar now, and what I'll do is I'll go into that, maybe, I don't know how I'm going to do that, probably actually a 45 degree, or not 45 but a bend from there straight in, and then if I use the shrinker stretcher it should be able to go down if I weld a piece onto that. Alright, that'll work. I don't think that's in the way, but I need to square up the slam panel first before I can tell, and obviously I need to square the car up as well. So I think the main thing to do now is get that inch box section welded in, get it really solid. It's going to be an absolute pain in the neck to get off afterwards, but that's going to be our best bet for getting the car level, and it gives me the flexibility that I can move it side to side. So I've just cobbled together a bit of inch box section there just to rest on that inner chassis leg and support the weight of the car. Done the same on that side, and then what I've done is in the back I've put two scissor jacks, and you can just see through there that I've got a spirit level, so I've been able to level the backs off now. So that's the fabrication I need to do there. The wheel height is looking pretty good. Obviously it's going on coilovers, so it'll be lowered. This is standard ride height at the moment, and there's no weight in the car whatsoever, and it's only on 15-inch wheels. It was on 17s, and the 17s were right inside. I've not got the squaring off done yet, but it's looking okay. So sort of level with the body line there, and then this side a little bit over, so it needs to, the whole thing, well you can see there actually, needs to shift to the right hand side. So that's easy enough to do. Just use the big bar. In fact, we won't use the big bar, I'll just shove it across. Bear with me. So I've moved it across, I think too much though now. So that's what I need to do anyway to square it off. Need to do the same on the front, but like I said, that'll square off pretty much automatically when well, it'll all square up automatically when I take the measurements in between there and there and there and there and divide them by 2, and I'll just make sections the right size. So that'll square the body up anyway. I think engine bay wise, it looks pretty smart. I'm quite happy with that. Might have to, well, I don't even think I need to fettle these inner wings. I need to chop off a load off the front because it's a lot longer. And I might have to move the rad position, but that's easy. And that can move an inch or so back. So it's really coming on. Right, so that's it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to roll the car out onto the front so I can drop my lift down and I can lift the car back up again then. And I need to look at doing the spine that goes between the gearbox and the diff. That needs extending. I need the prop shaft, sort out a fuel tank, and then starting to get ready to stitch them together. Videos are going to slow down a little bit now because I'm back at work. There's no bank holiday weekends for the next few weeks at least. I have got some holidays booked though coming up, so I will be doing it in the evening still, and I will be doing it at weekends. So I'll see you in the next one.